Hi, I'm the nerd next door. This is my second episode, so hopefully it'll be better than the last one. And I wanted to talk about all the things that have happened really fairly recently, definitely within the last 100 years, that most people don't really pay attention to. So, and I won't go, okay, there's some big, you know what, I'm just going to get right down to it. Okay, so when I was 11, I had a paper out, and when you have a paper out, really big paper outings, 4 in the morning and you're folding papers and you just fold and you fold and you fold, you can actually read an entire paper just by folding and looking at the right areas, and then you just kind of can keep reading as you're folding. So I was folding this paper, it was probably 1996, 1997, and I caught on the back of this paper that astronomers had discovered an extrasolar planet. And I knew that an extrasolar planet was extrasolar. Like, I knew just looking at it, because even back then I was just crazy about space. And so I see this and I was like, oh my gosh, we've discovered aliens. I was just freaking out. And so I turned it over and I was reading it, and you know, it was just very basic information, like they discovered this extrasolar planet and we have no idea what it's like yet, and it's the first to be discovered, and I think the first extrasolar planet was actually discovered in 1992, but I didn't really hear about it until 96, 97, so it was in the paper. It was probably not the first to be discovered, it's probably like the second or the third one, but I was just flipping out. So I wanted to talk about basically those big discoveries. So number one, the first one is obviously the extrasolar planet thing. So the first extrasolar planet was discovered, I think it was confirmed in 1992, and since then we've discovered like 2,500 extrasolar planets, especially with Kepler is what the name of the space station that looks for these things is. And the great thing about Kepler is that, you know, 92, probably most everyone watching this was born before 92. I think I'm gonna feel really old if that's not true. But 92 is not that long ago, and that was the first extrasolar planet discovered. And now we're up to like 2,000. But the point is, we're finding planets all the time outside our solar system, and it's only a matter of time before we find one that's just like Earth. And that's amazing. It blows my freaking brain. So number two is, it's actually going back quite a bit of ways, but this is something I think a lot of people my age don't really know about, and that is, up until about the 1930s, astronomers had no idea that this Milky Way galaxy wasn't the only thing in space. So up until 1923, the belief was that basically everything that we could see, nebulas, were actually just inside of the galaxy, and we called them nebulas, and the galaxy wasn't as big as we think it is today, and it was just, you know, the universe was so much smaller. And if you think about, well gosh, you know, it wasn't even discovered until 1923 that, hey, Andromeda is out there and it's just like the Milky Way, it's way, way, way out there, and it's just a bunch of stars and not an actual nebula inside of our galaxy. You know, that's going back to, right, your grandparents' era, maybe your great-grandparents' era, but you have to think that the people that you know that are still alive today that absolutely went to school and heard about this were taught that, hey, you know, we're it. The Milky Way, that's all there is. And now we know that there's, well, we estimate there's over 200 billion galaxies out there. And so it's enormous. It's amazing that we've gone from one galaxy to 200 billion some odd galaxies in, you know, 70, 80 years. Now go look at the Hubble Deep Field. Feel awe. So the third one is definitely got to be water. A couple years ago, actually I think in 2009, water was discovered on the moon. And that was a big deal because you know, I don't know, it depends on how old you are when you're watching this, but they used to say, well, the big thing about, oh, you know, Earth is the only planet that could possibly have life, is that there's no water anywhere. But now we know that that's just not true. There's water on the moons of Jupiter, there's water on Mars, there's water on all over the Kuiper belt. There's water on the moons of Uranus and Saturn. There's water on the moon just a few years ago, and we know now that there's ice on Mercury. The planet Mercury has ice on it. So that's not actually a problem. There's probably microbes or something in our solar system. 4. We landed on the moon!
No way!
And it's not made of cheese.
I play Dungeons and Dragons. I got a 13th level halfling fighter thief. Got 7 hit die on the backstab. Sometimes you know it's good to be a geek. Well, it's good to be a geek. It's good to play the freak. It's good to come on Mullen once every other week.
Now go look at the Hubble telescope. Feel awe. We landed on the moon! And it's not
That was beautiful.
Thank you.